All right, I just got to make sure I need to check we're live on Facebook and we're good to go. But if you're on comment replay, we're going to go ahead and get going. Happy Friday. Yep, we're going. Um, Happy Friday. Super excited to be here. I know everybody is just really excited to learn the virtual side of things. I just want to make sure everyone can hear me. Let's see. Okay, perfect. So if you're on, comment below. I know it's the last and final day. It's Friday. We're excited. 5 days of summer. It's August 1st. It's a new month. New, maybe same goals, but new energy as you go into the new month. So if you're on, say hello. And Laura, I think we should just get going because today's going to be really action-packed.
Yeah, this is actually my favorite days because we tie everything together and put it in a way that is going to, kind of fill in the blanks. We just talk about all these pieces of the puzzle all week, and so today is the day. First of the month, last month of summer, you can make things happen. You can get deals closing by Labor Day. So let's do this, okay?
Definitely.
Um, so I know what they share with you in the group, the action plan. I used to call it 3 week action plan, but now we call it kind of step 1, 2, 3, just because you're not running a sprint here, you're running a marathon. So don't compare yourself with everybody else, what they're doing.
Definitely.
I can tell you right now, some of the most successful people, either students or business partners, they have done well. And not everybody closed deals in 3 to 4 weeks. Now, people ask me, what's the average? Honestly, it's up to you. Okay, if you're really going to focus and dedicate and you want this and you're going to this level of expectation, that's why you will really work hard on mindset, because the people that have that mindset close deals in the first month.
Yeah,
Now, some of you might work a little harder. Don't you agree, Liz?
I agree.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, don't compare yourself with anybody else. Okay. Everybody here is unique in their own ways. You want me to go ahead and over the action plan, Liz, all of it, or do you want to do some of it?
I say, well, let's do the virtual. Let's tie it all together first, and then we can go over the action plan.
Okay, go ahead then. You can
Okay.
start on the virtual.
All right. So I was talking to Laura about like building systems virtual, and this will be the first time you've ever heard of the switch. So if you've been on a previous workshop of mine, I've taught how I've brought things virtual. But now with AI coming in and there's tools out there and things like that, I am actually transferring my business to be completely automated and ran via AI, even making my calls, stuff like that. Now I will have VAs that will make sure everything's running smoothly, being able to put out fires, do the follow-ups, partnering with people as well, to make things a little easier. But the switch it's moving over to AI. But I still want to show you what I've done in the meantime to really bring it virtual. So I would love to know of all of you who are on and watching, who of you are interested in a virtual business? And not meaning just using AI, because I'm going to show you how you don't need to use AI to do this too. But who of you are interested of doing this from anywhere in the world? That's what I would love to know, because I have built the business to run from no matter where I am. I can be on a plane, a cruise ship, Japan, trains, automobiles, all of it. You can literally run it everywhere. And so if that's something that's of interest to you, thank you, LJ. Who else, if you are interested? Okay, Kimberly and all of that. The biggest thing I have to tell you about bringing this virtual is it's a mindset shift, and people don't realize that. And I'm going to give you an example. I had a student that had to go to Israel for an emergency, okay? And she was a fix and flipper. And she was talking to me and she's like, I just don't know if I can go right now. I'm in the middle of a flip and all this stuff is going on. And I said, okay. I said, do you have a general contractor? She said, yes. I said, okay. I said, when you take calls, where are you taking your calls? She's like, well, from my office. I was like, where's your office? She's like, at my house. Okay. I said, when something goes wrong, where are you when that happens? She's like, well, usually at my office. I said, okay. I said, do you get up and go there? She's like, well, no, not all the time. My GC handles that. I said, okay. I said, why can't you do that from Israel? And she's like, you're right. And then she left for 2 months. So one of the things that it is a lot of times we feel we have to be in the general vicinity of things. But for rentals, flips, and wholesaling, you do not need to be there. It is a mindset shift. In fact, I was telling my sister because she was driving her and her boyfriend all over to wholesale to look at properties. I said, why? That sounds exhausting. Like, why are you spending your all day in Miami traffic, driving and doing all this stuff for what when you can do this online? Now, I did go in person one time to look at stuff for rentals. Over the course of 2 days, I looked at 15 places and I got back and I told my students, I said, this is exhausting. I will never do this again. I will do it completely virtual. Now, what's the difference between virtual and in person is the fact that everything is done online, but you will have a boots on the ground. So whether that's an agent, a family member, friends, somebody you hire through Thumbtack, or what have you, you will have boots on the ground that will take pictures, videos, see the property, show the property for you if it doesn't have a lockbox, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So you do need a boots on the ground. So someone else is going to do the work for you as far as the in-person work, but that could be anyone. Now, I've made friends in the areas that I invest. I've made really close friends with agents. I've made really close friends with people I know, and I pay them, and I pay them well because without them, my business wouldn't run. The other thing I would say is do not skimp. You have to pay for pictures and videos because once you get it under contract, you need to make sure the seller's not lying. And I'm going to give you a little tip here. The sellers are always lying. Almost 99% of the time, they're not going to tell you what is wrong with the property because they want more for it, which is funny because they should know we're going to go into it, but they still do it. Think about it. Even if you sold something, you're not going to let on that your water heater is on its last leg when it's working perfectly fine as selling, right? If it passes inspection, but you know you've had your water heater forever, it's going to happen. It's the same thing. So Thumbtack has been my best friend. I've also had, like I said, agents take pictures and videos. Um, the other thing with the virtual aspect is that you really want to get your systems in place. Now, I do tell students that the first few deals they need to do without a system. Excuse me. When I talk a lot, I start coughing now. Um, so they really got to do things without systems in place. They really just need to be on the phone. A lot of gurus out there don't teach that because why? They want you to start with systems. But here's the thing, if you get your systems all in place, but you don't have any deals running through it, you don't know how your system's supposed to work, you can't set it up properly, you're wasting all this time. So go out there, do some deals, and then, like we said about our students, then we start putting systems and automation in place based on how they've set up their business to run. For 3 years before I really got an automation in place, I ran off of Google Sheets. It was all I needed. Google Sheets and my cell phone, and I was doing deals. But when I started understanding, like, hey, in order to automate this, in order to do this from anywhere in the world and to have it happening, I needed to put things in place. So, Laura, so I can get some water, can you please kind of continue on a little bit of the virtual aspect of things?
Sure. Okay, so I'm actually going to tie into the action plan because I think to kind of see how you develop into an action plan and doing also virtual, which by the way, virtual that like it doesn't mean that you have to travel or go out of town. It can mean that I sit in my office and I just don't go on location all the time, or I don't have to. And like Liz says, it's more of a mindset shift, right? We feel like a lot of time we want to micromanage everything, and we feel I do the same. If I have to go on a trip for a while, I feel like I have to do everything just before I leave the door, just because, right? And instead, it's not the case really. You can continue what you're doing when you sit at home, virtually, because you don't have to be there on location, never, unless you want to. So let me go through step one. In if you do have the PDF, that would be helpful to download it. So first of all, like I said, I used to do this as a 3-week action plan, but then I changed the wording to steps because, like I said, don't see this as a competition, okay? We talked about this whole week. We talked about really setting your goals, kind of reverse engineer. This is maybe I haven't really talked about this, but kind of reverse engineer what you want. So depending if you're wholesaling, rentals, so you can do a combination of both of them, which is the best way. Um, look at the wholesaling. Even if you want to do rentals or fix and flips, look at wholesaling as a way for you to make money on deals that you don't want anyway, right? So set your goals. How much money do you want to make? So let's say, for example, you have long-term goals and short-term goals. I think you need to have long-term and short-term as well. And one of the things I read recently, I always read like biography and the mindset of multi-billionaires, like Jeff Bezos and all of that. And one of the things I read about multi-billionaires at that level is that they set long-term goals. They set long-term goals and then they do short-term goals. So that's very important because most people don't set long-term goals, and that's why they don't break through a certain ceiling. So let's say that 7 to 10 years from now, your long-term goals is to have $50,000 a month coming in from passive income and have a business that brings you another $50,000 or more from wholesaling. That's your long-term goals. So now short-term is maybe in the next year, you're going to get $5,000 to $10,000 in passive income coming in, which is very doable. And then you're going to consistently close 2, 3 deals a month, right? And then, so what is it going to get you there? So that's what we're going to work about that in this action plan. So set your goals and then organize your business entity. Now, this one actually, if you're doing it virtually and you're doing it in a different state, you want to organize your entity in the state where you do business, not in the state where you live. Okay. And then assemble your essentials team. Don't worry too much about now this is an ongoing process. I don't want you to stop and not do any investing because you haven't found a title company or real estate agent. That's not it. You have to really kind of get going, but you're going to find them. Other agents are going to refer to you. You're going to go to the REIA meetings. Once you start going out in the business, you're going to meet a ton of people that you can work with. But get this going. Okay. So the action step for the step one is you have to do long-term goals, short-term goals, and then start building up some momentum with the essentials team. And then the other thing is create your business entity in the area where you invest. Now you notice everything I mentioned here, you don't have to really do anything in person, right? This can be done virtually. So now the second step is what I call the business score. Now this one actually should be also done in step one. If you're not sure about the area, you're not really, I have people like I'm working one of the students right now. She lives in Virginia, but she's going to invest in Pennsylvania and West Virginia. So she lives in Virginia, but she's going to create her entity in West Virginia, right? So that's the thing. Choose the area because that's how you're going to create a business entity. Now, if you're wholesaling, the next step you should do is actually build your buyers list. Not necessarily because these are the buyers that are going to buy from you, but they're going to be the ones that, kind of going to give you a little bit of a feedback if you're actually choosing the right area, right? So we have 6 qualifying questions on building the buyer list that I say have that in a conversation when you look for buyers. And Liz, have we talked about how they can find some buyers or if
Yeah,
I'm
we did on day 2.
okay, there's so much information in my head too. I don't remember if we mentioned it or not. So yeah, go listen to that if you don't remember. But basically, is you want to survey them, and kind of see what property are looking because you came to a certain conclusion by choosing the right area, but it's not necessarily 100% until you talk to the buyers and see what they're doing. And then you look for the properties matching the criteria. Yes, it's as simple as that. Okay. We talked about quick wins. We talked about long nurture. Most of the people are quick wins. Again, this can be done totally virtually. You don't need to be on location to use PropStream, the MLS, or any of the other things we talked about. Again, it's a mind shift, right? Because driving for dollars, I like to drive around and look at property, but do I rely on that as an ongoing source of leads? No. Okay. I have agent referrals, MLS, other ways that I do to get the leads to me. And then for buy and hold, same thing, and fix and flip. You need to decide on an area. Now, there are different criteria that I'm looking for depending if I'm wholesaling, buy and hold, and fix and flip. But one of the biggest questions I have for the students, I said, what is your strategy of choice? So if I say buy and hold, for example, I say, okay, let's choose the area where you want to build your portfolio, and then we're going to wholesale there. So you kind of do both for them for leads that you don't need. Again, all totally done virtually. And you start looking at property. Now, here we can start using some tools. And so, Liz, I don't know if you want to kind of mention some of the tools that can help in
Yeah. Yeah.
CRMs, how to keep it really simple, buyers, even with, using AI for cold calling. Go ahead, explain some of this.
Yes. Yeah, so a couple of tools. For the longest time, I used Google Sheets. So if you're new, don't invest all your money into tools right now. It's not worth it. But when you start doing a couple of deals, there are a few tools I definitely recommend. Now, right off the bat, I would say, and team, if you can post the affiliate links into the comments and into the description for YouTube, that would be great. But the first one I would say is PropStream. You can pull a list of PropStream. We have an affiliate link that gets you a free trial. But I use PropStream every single day in my business, which is funny because I went in and one of my assistants accidentally deleted all my list. I got it back, but I freaked out for a second yesterday because all my list over the last like 10 years were gone, but we got it back. It was an accident. So, but I just thought about that. So PropStream is phenomenal. You can pull lists, you can pull list of buyers, sellers, you can get information. I do not recommend for skip tracing. It hasn't always proven to be the best for me. In fact, I actually use Batch Leads, which will give you another discount link there to check out to skip trace. And they do have what's called or batch skip, and they do have a like a whole CRM with batch leads, but I haven't used them to tell you what I necessarily think of them. I think one of my other coaches uses them and likes it, but I've always really liked PropStream. I find it more of what I need, so that's what I've been using for years now. And then I kept everything on a spreadsheet for a long time. Then I transferred into Podio, Podio, for my CRM. That was fantastic for a while, but now I'm transferring over to Go High Level because I can text and call through that CRM. And so Go High Level is kind of where I've been. But again, that's for more advanced users. You need to have a whole business running. It just makes a little more sense where I've like naturally gravitated to. And I am working on having somebody build out a custom CRM for the students, but it takes time to do that. So Go High Level is kind of where I've transferred to. So those are the tools that I use on a day-to-day basis. Now moving into like how to bring it virtual and things like that, we actually have the one of the product developers for AI Speakly. He's been at a few of our events in the past. He's talking to our students this month on how to bring things virtual. We do have a code on that as well, team, if you want to share that. AI Speakly is the CRM that's going to be making all the virtual calls that I'm talking about. Now, I do have a few students that are using them and really liking them and getting a lot of leads from them, but I've heard it has a heck of a setup. So with us transferring into that, I'm kind of looking at that. So Liz, why are you transferring into that when you have VAs? Well, to be honest, I've lost a lot of my VAs to pregnancy in the last year or two, and to constantly have a turnover of people because I hire women. I'm a women-based company, and I believe that in all of my businesses to give women the right, chance to work and stuff because I hire also overseas. Um, you're losing them to babies. So, and so I actually am like, okay, well, how can I do this to where it's not a constant turnover of callers? And honestly, callers end up burning out. It's a hard job to be calling all the time and hearing no's all the time and all of that. Well, AI doesn't do that. They don't burn out. And I've actually listened to a lot of AI calls through students and through AI Speakly and being close working with AI Speakly that these bots, as you would say it, do so well. You don't know it's a bot, and they don't burn out. They don't take it personal, and they can call all day for you. So AI Speakly is kind of where I'm drafting to next, and that's something that's incredibly important to go. My team is putting everything in the chat for you, so if you want to look into it, you can definitely look into it. And if you use our code, you get discounts. So it's always cool about that. But they're fantastic. And then students, if you're watching, you are actually going to have your whole training with them in August if you didn't watch the beginning of the month live that I did just yet. So that's kind of what I recommend as far as tools. But I would say in the very beginning, you need to keep it simple. All right. You need to know how your business works. I tell the students whenever they do a kickoff call with us, I say, we're going to do it with you, not for you. Because if we do it for you, you're never going to be able to run your own business on your own. You will be dependent on me for the rest of your life, for your business's life anyway, to make it run. So instead, I'm going to teach you how to do everything, but you're actually going to do the steps so that when it comes time, you are able to have a full-fledged business that's not relying on paying me for the rest of your life to make it happen. And they always smile, but it's a very true thing because it makes sense. Don't you want to know? I tell the students all the time, if I handed you my business right now, I handed you all the systems and how to run it, gave you the entire team and put it on your plate, my business would crash because you don't know how to talk to sellers, you don't know how to run my CRM, you're not knowing how to pull lists, you're not knowing how to organize it, you're not knowing how to get your contracts together, you don't know the contingencies, you don't know how to market your company yet or anything like that. You don't have the systems in place that you've learned on your own to be able to run it. Even on the REIW side, I say, you know what? I can run every part of my business because I did it and I learned how to do it and I built it up. the same needs to be for you. And that's a power and a confidence within yourself to always know that your business is good as long as it relies on you. That's why with all this turnover of pregnancies and people leaving, I can still jump in and run my business till I get someone else in there. Because why? Because I've set it up to where I know every instance and part of my business. So virtual is something that I highly recommend. Now, if you're asking what action plan that Laura was referring to, it's posted in the Facebook group for it. It's free to join the Facebook group. So if you haven't already, go in there. We have goodies going on. They'll be available till Sunday night for you to download. Laura, anything else that I'm missing right now on this? No?
No, yeah, I think it was a referral. Ask them if they have any questions on this.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, definitely reach out to me on your signature. Okay, here we go. Question just came in. On your signature program, do you teach exit strategies? Do you teach pre-foreclosures? I teach everything. Me and Laura have, I mean, this is a robust program. Laura has done every strategy known to man, it feels like, and there's
Part
training
is
on it.
residential, yeah.
Yes, that's residential. We do want to be clear, we're residential coaches. So yes, you can. We teach on pre-foreclosures. We teach on all exit strategies. Rentals, flips, and wholesaling is all an exit strategy, right? Because it's all a strategy you're doing once you get it under contract. Are you going to wholesale it? Are you going to rent it out? Or are you going to flip it? So that is all exit strategy. We teach on all of that. I'm just making sure I answered everything. We teach foreclosures, bankruptcy, divorce filings, tax auctions, liens. All of that is taught. If you're an agent, we teach on how to be an agent, how to approach your broker to make sure that you do this to where you're not going to get in trouble with your broker, to also invest, all of it. So all of that gets taught every time. Any other
I
questions?
want to point out something that I think is worth mentioning. I think we didn't mention it all week. When we teach you, when I had done the training for you guys for the all the leads, okay, it's not just about getting leads. You know, you anybody can go out there and they see on YouTube and everything else, knock on doors, drive around, this stuff. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about really stuff, niche ways of doing it. Like Liz mentioned bankruptcy. Okay, there is nobody here that teaches, and nobody in the country that teaches you how to get leads of property in bankruptcy court. I was actually taught by a bankruptcy attorney who did that for many years, but he couldn't do it himself because of competition or conflict of interest. And so he was teaching people and he was taking a percentage of the deals. So I learned from the best. When we talk about tax delinquent property, it's not just a tax delinquent going to auction type stuff. I actually know somebody that he gets property in tax delinquent for free. Okay, just the cost of recording. He actually, when we do events, he raffles off land because he got it for free anyway. Okay, so when we talk about high-end properties, flipping properties, I'm the only coach in the country that can flip on high-end properties, and I can teach about that because that's what I do right now. So when we talk about the staff, I don't want you guys thinking, oh yeah, well, any coaching program can do that. They don't. Because why? Because I don't have enough experience. I've been in this business for 4 decades. I've done everything ups and down and left. Also, we teach about we do residential, but I also talk about land, how to flip land. Very lucrative. We had a student, she bought a Tesla just by doing one deal for land. So that's the thing that we teach. So I just want to make sure you guys understand it's not just like any other coaching program. We are totally different on that. So now let's go move forward with the third step in this virtual thing. I feel like, I had to point out, I think, because we always say that we teach and then people say, well, yeah, but I can go on YouTube or there is other coaching that can do this or not the way I teach. A very niche, very strategy. I learn from the best myself. Okay. And I bring it to you guys. Nobody else coaches that. Honestly, this attorney and this other guy that did the tax delinquent, they're retired. They're older guys, but they've done that for 40, 50 years before they did that. And I learned from them. Okay. So now let's go into step 3. Purchase contracts. Yes, we give you the contract. The contract that we use, by the way, is the one I've used for over 30 years, and I've tweaked it and changed it over the times. So we give you a 2-page contract. Look at the contracts like this. Your contract is your scratch off ticket. Okay. So, just imagine if you look at the contract, I tell my student, look at the contract of your scratch off tickets, right? The more tickets you buy and scratch off, the more your chances to win. So, if you put out 4, 5, 6 contracts a week, one or two are going to be working signed off. I have students right now, they do 4 to 6 contracts a week. And they said to me, well, and they just started with us a couple months ago. And they said, well, we met our goal, our quota. I said, no, you didn't. I said, now you're going to double that. They chuckled that, right? So, but that's true. I says, now you're going to double that. So that's your scratch off ticket. So we're going to give you the contract, all the contingencies that you need to do, everything you need. So don't worry about that. Again, this can be done virtually. There are platforms out there like DocHub, DocuSign, where you can send it. It's not a matter of meeting somebody to get the signature. Unless you're dealing sometime with an elderly person. So yes, that would help. Now, we talked about using CRM or using even a spreadsheet, like Liz said in the beginning, keep it simple. Devise a system to track properties, contracts, timelines, right? And here you can start adding tools. So one of the things that people ask me, students ask all the time, is like, what should I use, or how much money is it in marketing, let's put it that way, for me to get going? And I was like, nothing really. I mean, um, if you have a computer and a phone, and actually I had a student, she didn't even have a computer, she couldn't afford it, so she went to the library until she got her deal going. But the thing is, if you have a computer and your phone, that's all you need. Now, some tools that might help eventually is like PropStream, but now PropStream has a plan where you can actually partner with our people and split the cost. So a lot of our students do that. So that comes up only $20 a person. You can have some other tools there like AI Speakly, but again, very affordable to make your call a lot cheaper than getting a VA, and honestly, probably more reliable. And so you start adding, but in the beginning, if you have a phone and you can access a computer somewhere, that's enough to get you to start doing deals, and then take the money from your deals and invest in, amplifying your business. And two things are going to happen. First of all, the more deals you do, the less you work with this business, because now you've set up a system that can work for you 24/7. Okay. And then you invest some money, but still it's very minimum. I mean, I am not making this up. In all the years I've been in this business, probably the most I've spent as far as marketing was probably $300 to $400 a month, the most I spent. And that included when I was doing some type of direct marketing, which I don't do right now. Right now, I spend more in a couple of tools, which comes to $150 a month. But the thing is, it's not a huge expense. Gone are the days, personally, I don't understand people that spend $10,000, $20,000 in direct marketing. I think there are better ways to do it most effectively, to do it quality instead of quantity. That's always been my motto. But, you get the gist of it. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Now for buy and hold, you still write the contracts, okay? I analyze the deal. I figure out, I told you some rule of thumbs the other day for buy and hold. I told you rule of thumbs for fix and flip yesterday. So I analyze the deal, and if a deal makes sense, I go ahead and put it under contract. Then I do my inspections on the building. Then I see, and I can adjust the price later on if the inspection revealed that maybe some extra works need to be done, or the property is not really worth that. But put it on the contract. Get your foot in the door, even with wholesaling. Just don't, because by the time you go back and forth, first of all, you're going to alienate the seller. Second of all, you risk of losing the property. Put it on the contract. You can also renegotiate later on if you feel like you need to come down on price. Okay. So look, remember, contracts are your scratch off tickets. Okay. So we have also in the worksheet here, we have some rule of thumbs, direct marketing, if you want to do that, direct contact. Now, when I talk about phones, I'm not talking about just making a ton of calls. I'm talking about having conversations. It doesn't matter if you do 50, 100 calls a day and you have no conversation. That's not going to get you anywhere. I would prefer to say, okay, I'm going to call until I get at least 3 conversations a day. Put it as a goal. Put it there as a non-negotiable goal that you're going to have only three conversations a day. Okay. Now, what you say in these conversations, the quality of the leads and all of that, that's super important. and get the properties under contract. You cannot really do anything. You cannot market the property. You cannot do any inspections or so forth until you have the properties under contract. So we gave you a lot of great information here. I'm sure you agree on this action plan. So, but there is a lot of fill in the blanks here, right? So what's the best effective way to get the leads? What should have you put on the contract and all of that? That is where we come in and we can help you. And this is where a lot of people have fear. Fear of say, okay, what if I write a contract? And these are viable fears. What if I write a contract that's not going to protect them and I get in trouble? What if I don't do the right thing? What am I going to say to these potential sellers or buyers? What are the steps? The thing at the end of the day, what are the steps from A to Z, check by check mark for me to do a deal? So these are all the fill in the blanks that we are here to help you with.
Definitely. So we had a question come in that says, do you ever get your flips or buy and holds from wholesalers, or are you going straight to the seller yourself? So I'll answer that one. It really depends. I talked about this the other day. If you're wanting to pay wholesaling fees and not get it even cheaper, or agent commissions and not get it even cheaper, and you don't care and the numbers work, you can get your deals from other people. That's totally fine. But what I recommend is just, if you can, source the deals yourself and cherry pick the ones you want to do for rentals and flips, and wholesale the ones that don't work for you. That personally seems a little more realistic, but a lot of people don't want to do the work of a wholesaler. And so then you don't have to. By all means, if the numbers still work, you can go for it another way. But you have to remind yourself, okay, am I okay paying 5, 10, 15, $20,000 in commissions or, profit to somebody else? And if you're fine with that, which a lot of our students do that, and that's fine, you can do that. It's not a big deal. So what we're going to do is, that's the only questions I see. So we're going to go ahead and pull the final raffle of the week. And then we're going to see if you guys have any other questions. Now, I will have my team go ahead and put a link for you to schedule calls in the chat, so that you can schedule calls. Today is the last day that you could schedule a call. We only have 5 spots open for today. And we do need to talk to you today. If you want all the bonuses, they're only available for this week. They're not available for next week. So we only have a couple of spots left open today. So I really recommend, if you're interested and you want to get going. One of the things that I told my students was, I hate that I have this stupid cough. Hold on. Is I told them, I said, we went live yesterday and I was telling them how important it was that August is, because everyone thinks you can't do deals during the holiday. I have done my biggest check to date right around Thanksgiving, literally $122,000. I've shown proof on many workshops and into my student group of that income. Now, the other thing is, the money that you start making for the holidays starts this month in August. August is one of the most important months for you to get closings done before the holidays hit, and then you're stressed out about money again, wishing you would have started. Now, you can start at any time. Yes, any time is a good time to start, but August, to get the information now, to get into doing deals now, so that by Halloween you have deals already went to closing, you have more deals in the pipeline. Um, October, November, and December are my biggest months of the year. So by that time, you already have done a couple of deals. You're not going to be so overwhelmed trying to learn all the knowledge during the holidays. Then you're going to say, oh, I'm going to start till January. And then January is going to hit, oh, I'm too busy, or I'm tired from the holidays. There's always a reason to not begin. Okay, there's always going to be an excuse to not begin. My question for you is, how long are you going to put it off? Because you could join today and make money in a couple of weeks. And, 6 weeks, if you put out the contract, let's say you need a couple of weeks to learn the lessons and get the kind of understand what's going on. So you will close deals by the end of September. Okay. Heck yeah. But if you keep making reasons for this not to work, you're going to keep finding reasons for it to not to work. So I was talking to someone in my chat the other day, and she was like, "Well, maybe I should wait till the new year. I got all this stuff going on." I said, "Okay, right now, January looks free, but so did my weekend up until a couple of days ago." Things come in and you start planning. The best time is to get in during the month of August, because then you're going to hit the ground running and have deals closed and you've committed to it. What are you going to do? Just not do anything? So also, how long do you want to put off living the way you are? Obviously, some of you have good lives, but some of you are here to do better, to make better lives. So how long are you going to put that off? Is it really worth putting it off? It's like how we always wait till Monday to start a diet, then Monday comes and life hits, and Mondays are the Mondayest of all, and you break your diet on a Monday night, and you're like, oh, I'll start next Monday. So you put off a whole other week of possibly getting yourself into a better, like healthy relationship with your body, or you wait till you're sick, diagnosed with cancer or something, then you get serious about your health. I say this because I see so many people do it and it's so frustrating. I was really blessed that the second that real estate really became an option for me, I jumped on it at 25. I jumped on it and now my 30s look very differently. Some people, I've talked to students who have said, I waited 4 decades to start. I just kept finding reasons it wasn't a good time. And a lot of like, you were like, I don't have the money to invest. You don't have the money not to either. If you're trying to get yourself out of that situation, you got to get yourself out of that situation. You got to figure out how bad do I want the future that I'm looking for? And if you're not that serious, then be honest with yourself so you can move on and not shame yourself for not starting sooner. But my question for you is how bad do you want this? Because I'm telling you right now, I can get you doing deals in the next couple of months. I have students. I put you in the group yesterday. I have students doing deals left and right. Literally, they're blowing up my WhatsApp right now for the ones that have the one-on-one too. Now, there are students who don't have one-on-one that are doing exceptionally well. So don't feel like, oh, I got to pay for their one-on-one. No, actually, in fact, we're not going to let you until you've been in the program for a while. Because one-on-one is for those that are scaling. One-on-one are for those that have taken this seriously, right?
Yeah, like for example, the one I mentioned, they're doing 4 to 6 contracts a week. So they need a one-on-one because their finger right now, they were, first of all, they were working 8 hours each, husband and wife. And I told them, okay, you have to work half that each. And they chuckled. I was like, you work too hard.
Yeah.
They sent me the schedule. It says, go and take time for yourself. The other thing is to scale it. They're the ones who said we met our quota already. I said, no, you're going to double it. But I said, you have to scale, we have to automate, we have to scale, we have to build a system so that you actually, build a business that can run almost without you.
Yeah.
And that's why you need the one-on-one. And so right now, honestly, you don't know what to ask yet. A lot of you are really beginners. Okay. So you don't know what you don't know. So we have different plans. We have the signature program. We have also an entry level. Come in the community, learn, get out there, start doing deals. Start doing deals. But you get to have to jump on these calls. We have like 4 or 5 calls a week. We have 20 plus calls a month. No
We
other
right
coaching.
now we're averaging 4 calls a week, but every once in a while we throw in an extra call.
Yeah. So, you have almost 20 calls a month. I mean, no other coaching program will give you all these calls. You're never more than a day or so away to get on a call. We have a forum which is active 24/7. Elizabeth
They
shared.
saw that yesterday.
Yeah. And so we have intensives. The next one is coming up here in September where you spend with us for 2 days. So we have a lot of things. We haven't even scratched the surface. But, I don't want to take over all the call just telling what the program is about. But if you want to know, discuss more, just do the book a call and then we can give you all the options that you have. But don't let this stop you because at the end of the day, what is the cost of you staying in the same place? Like Liz says, you want to wait till the end of the year. Do you realize that you're potentially losing over $50,000 in money that somebody else is making this year because of that? One time I said to people that, between this time I started real estate in 87 to the one I got in full time in 95, I had lost over $1 million. And I said, what do you mean by that? I says, that's money I didn't make. Not I lost it, but that's money I didn't make because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have anybody to help me. I had to figure things out. I had to make a ton of mistakes. I had to have a lawyer on retainer sometimes because of stuff I was doing. And you don't have to do that. You don't have to reinvent a wheel. So I
Yeah.
don't know if you realize, I said that on the first day. In this business, you're going to pay one way or the other. You're either going to pay because you make mistakes, you're going to lose money because you don't know what to do and you let deals go, or
Yeah.
or it might as well get somebody to help you and get that back 10 times over in the first
Definitely.
in the first year.
So we have the link in the chats. Definitely book a call. You do need a book for today just because we're not offering these bonuses at the end of this week. So you only have the bonuses that we have offered Today we're offering the same as yesterday, 20% off. And then if you signed up on Monday or Tuesday, you got all the bonuses for the week. But we're only offering that till we get off today's live. I will give it till midnight only because, well, I can't. We don't have any calls. I can't even give it to midnight for the people watching the replay. But you can schedule a call and we can see what we can offer. But you won't get the bonuses that we have today just because we are rewarding the people that are on live because that's kind of how we've been all week. So what we're going to do now is do the raffle. So our raffle is the summer success bundle. It has step-by-step blueprints for different series of things. It involves some of our favorite ebooks out there. It's just kind of a lot of like PDFs and fun for you guys, so that you guys can have that as you go on your real estate journey. So I'm just trying to get this to share. It's always so finicky. All right, and in order to be entered into these, like I said, you have to just be a part of our Facebook group. We cannot tag people or message them. They just need to watch the live if they're not already on, and they'll get entered in. So let's go. Bonita, I know she was on the other day. I don't know if she's on today watching. We have a few people on, but Bonita, you'll get that even though you're a student, so you can also gift it to other people if you if you because she's a student, so she gets way more in-depth stuff. So if she wants to gift it, she can gift it. But other than that, congratulations, Bonita. If you want it, you can just email in as well. You can just email Julie, your client success manager, and she can take care of you. All right, Laura, anything else we want to say before we jump off for the day?
No, this was ask them what was the biggest takeaways this week? What was the stuff that really kind of gave him aha moments?
Well, there's a delay, so even if we get that, it's going to be a minute. So if you guys want to write that down, I'm still checking the lives, um, throughout the day today to see what your biggest takeaways are, any remaining questions about the program or anything like that. But if you have questions, my biggest thing is just ask, get on the call, ask your questions, and, Doreen will be happy to help you. She said too many takeaways to even pick one. I
Oh.
know we gave a lot of information for free out. I mean, for how we feel is we'd rather you guys know, even if you don't end up joining with us, we'd rather you know because there's a lot of wrong being taught out there, and we don't want that. We don't want anything to happen to the women trying to invest. We don't want you to be scared out of investing because of the wrong things taught or because, you don't know enough to get going. So that we always try to give as much information as we can give out within reason, obviously, so that you guys feel safe to move forward. They said so many good golden nuggets. Thank you.
Yeah, good. Yeah, and like I said earlier, I think we didn't stress this enough, the fact that we teach things that a lot of our coaches don't teach, honestly, and I know what they teach, I've either seen it firsthand or I know. And there's a lot of the same information, a lot of ways doing it that is honestly not even working. Somebody was telling me she came from another program and they say, well, they tell her to knock on doors and drive around. And I'm like, nobody does that anymore. That's old stuff. So you need to know what's working and what is going to get you ahead. And to build a business, most of you don't want to just do one deal, right? You want to do more than one. You want to set up a system. You want to pay off your bills or take vacations and live a life on your own terms, but you need to build a business that can run with little input from you and you automate it. Even if you want to do only a couple of deals a month, I am here already planning my cruises for next year. And that's the thing. I'm gonna go to Singapore and Bali in the January, and then I'm planning to go to Antarctica at the end of the next year. So that's the thing. And my business will keep running. I was for a 1 month on a cruiser from San Francisco to Australia a few years ago. Remember, Liz, I was doing videos of me actually working on the cruise ship, making calls, doing deals while I was on the cruise ship, and I was documenting that for 1 month. I was in the middle of the Pacific. So that's the life I can show you how to live. And you don't have to go on a month on a cruise if that's not your thing. I'm just saying that you have options. I was on Iceland for 2 weeks traveling here a few weeks ago. And, again, you do business anywhere where I have Wi-Fi, I can travel. That and my laptop, that's all I need. And that's the true laptop lifestyle.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's like I said, I've been at Hunter's, soccer games and turkey trots, and he's turning 13 on Tuesday, and I've been able to be there for every portion of his life. I fly in when his dad has him for his birthday. I've never missed a single birthday. We switch every other year. I get him this year. But I've always flown in for everything because I was like, that's important to me. He's my only child. Even if he wasn't, that was something that was always important was to be there. So even if you're there to, you're like, I don't really care to travel, but there's other ones I want. I want to wake up and walk out and my immediate thing is not to check my bank account, or I want to be able to spend my day reading or doing what I want to do. There's different things you can do that really matter. And I don't think you guys realize the freedom that comes to that when you have money to make the choices to do what you want to do and you have systems and automations in place. Laptop lifestyle, right? Isn't it cute? I call it my nomadic, and I will send pictures of my setup anywhere. So when I was on a cruise, I had a setup of my laptop, the second screen, and they were like, "Oh my gosh," and they're like, "You really do work from anywhere." From sitting up in the plane and have my little office. Honestly, I get my best work done on a plane because nobody is there to distract me. No one's messaging me. I get my best work done on a plane, but because I'm like there stuck in this little hole, or this little corner. But yeah, so we're gonna jump off here. I do hope that we get to the chance to work with a few of you. I know a few of you have scheduled calls. We still have a few slots open for today. So if you even feel a little bit of the inkling to just talk to us, there's not like this huge obligation, but if you feel the inkling to talk to us, go ahead and book your call. Get on the phone with the lovely Doreen. She's been in the group and just see what the options are, see how we can get you there. Because I'm telling you now, 60, 90 days from now, your life could already be in the motion of looking drastically different. And by New Year's, you could be a completely different person. So, all right, everyone. I hope you have a good day.
Yeah, I'm gonna get right. I know I have to talk to somebody in 15 minutes, so I'm
Yep.
looking forward to, and I know you're online right now, so I'll talk to you soon. And then I will, everybody else, I'll be on standby this afternoon to talk to anybody. So like I said, don't forget the 20% discount for anything you choose, any of the programs is only applicable today. Okay, take care. I'll talk to you soon.